And we're back.
On that note, 3, 2, 1. All right, I guess we're live. Civil Society Podcast, number 1. I am Josh Durr. I'm joined by Andrew Thomas and Rob Holtzinger.
Hello.
What's up?
And we're just going to kind of get into a lot of things. I don't know. There's nothing really, there's not too much planned. I think we're just going to do an open conversation about whatever kind of pops into our minds and see where this thing goes. It is episode number 1, though, and it seems a little appropriate because it is our inaugural episode and the inauguration of the 45th President of the United States. Donald J. Trump, billionaire, will be in pretty much exactly 1 week from today.
Woohoo!
So, yay for those of you who are out there celebrating that. I don't know how many of you are or will be.
A lot. There's a lot.
There are.
Quite a few.
So we were kind of talking before we turned the mics on. Drew was asking why people like Trump. And I think that's a pretty valid question. Rob said that he could sum it up in under a minute. So let's see if we.
I have a time limit. Okay.
That's what you said, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
No, I could go for like 6 hours. But
oh, wow.
Well, we don't have that kind of time.
That's fair. Why do people like Trump? Because they're racist. Or let me rephrase. Because America is way more racist than a lot of us like to think. It's a lot more sexist. It's a lot more bigoted and just much more of an awful place than a lot of us like to think it is.
I don't think it's that simple, though. I mean, like, ultimately, like, Trump represents something old, something comfortable. Just, it's a shoe that you just don't want to get rid of when your wife says, get rid of that shoe. I mean.
Now, before everybody out there starts giving all of us shit about this, Andrew is black. So he can say this. So before everybody online starts going, that racist motherfucker, no, just calm down a little bit and hear everybody out.
Absolutely. I am a chocolate brother. But let's just say that we're like right now the reverse Oreo cookie, like 2 white wafers and I'm the chocolate filling. So
the whitest wafer being Rob.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, like I've always like when I started looking in, it's just like I can understand Trump like being funny and outright just like F everything, but I don't understand how people can be so confident in voting in that.
Right. Now, see, something that you said that kind of alarms me is you said from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So to me, that speaks to the isolation that I think a portion of the country feels, that you feel super disconnected because you said on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. That says that you feel like you're not even part of the process, right? Like,
absolutely.
But you are. You're here, man. You're American. You're from Philly. There's nothing more American than being from the nation's first capital, right? Like you're on the inside, being on the inside. You can't,
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm in my 30s, and like I can't speak for most black people, or I could just talk about my own ideology. I mean. It's like we're a part of it, but we're ultimately in people like Trump or things of that nature. Like it reminds you, like just because you're here doesn't mean you're with us. Okay. And that's historically the black experience.
That's fair.
So
that's really fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there's a dichotomy within this country, and like it's like all right, it's like how Chappelle got that racial draft, whatever, and like we draft you here, we draft you there. Asians take Wu-Tang Clan. Asians take Wu-Tang Clan.
That was one of my favorite episodes. The Chappelle Show was the racial draft. I thought that was fantastic.
Absolutely, it's dope. But and this is what I'm ultimately getting. It's like in the micro sense, we have our own identities and what we aspire towards and what we belong to collectively. But then in the macro sense, where and how do we fit in? And does the black voice or do the black experience really count in this country? And Obama was supposed to represent that, and
right,
and that wasn't not necessarily so. So
okay,
but there's still like it's a question like, does the black experience matter? A lot of people say it doesn't, and a lot of people don't want it to, and I think that's what led to Donald Trump getting elected.
You don't think that it's a result of the past 8 years of failure and the past 150 years of convoluted democracy where the people aren't necessarily in charge? We're just made to feel like we are.
I think it's definitely that as well.
I agree.
And like the Electoral College is a mess as it is.
Yeah.
But if we can sidetrack for a minute and off-road with that for just a second, kind of unpack the Electoral College. How do you feel about that? Do you think that it needs to be there?
No, it's a fucking mess.
But do you understand why it is there?
kind of.
Okay.
I understand that it was put in place a long time ago to
When people rode on horses and they were like,
Right.
our 10 people in this village
Yeah.
think this.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense, and without it, then candidates wouldn't go campaign in Alaska or the middle of Iowa because there's not votes there.
Right. But
They would
now,
stick in New
with the
York.
Electoral College, Iowa's like one of the most important states. They're the first one to go.
Right. But it's an outdated system, and it needs something.
Okay.
It needs to be worked some way.
Yeah.
And that goes to my broader point. I mean, ultimately, it's set up so that old, rich white males can maintain a certain level of power, and thus we got Trump.
I'm not rich, so I'm not wholly invested in that idea. But if I was rich, I'd be all for it. Because someday maybe I too could have a little bit of that power.
Well, I mean, you're white, so you're halfway there.
You're more than halfway there. What is it, like 3/5 of the way there? Yeah.
Is that a 3/5 joke?
That's exactly
Smooth
it.
Rob. Smooth Rob.
That's
I love it.
intelligent racism. You gotta love it.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Kind of getting back to why people sort of like Trump. The first word out of your mouth pretty much was racism or racist.
Yeah.
Do you really think that the majority of people who supported Trump are racist?
No.
Okay.
No, most people that voted for Trump, and I say most, a lot of people that voted for Trump are not going to be racist,
Okay.
but a lot of them are.
Get her done.
There's a lot of fucking people out there that are incredibly racist, and they voted for Trump because, one, he's endorsed by the KKK, and just he represents an idea that the white man in power should stay the white man in power, and everyone else should bow down to him.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that you're definitely onto something, and I won't disagree with it. But I will add the tag that I think there's an element of people who are not people of color, who have been witness to some really shameful reporting and the way that politics and social constructs have sort of been viewed and covered the past 8 years, right? There was this idea that Obama was going to come in.
Yeah.
He was going to be the post-racial president.
Yeah.
Race doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
Symbolism.
It wasn't going to happen. It never was slated to be like that.
Right.
Like that hope and change
Well-
that we were sold didn't happen. So now people are just so frustrated with that. And they go, you know what? I wanted that. 8 years ago, I wanted that. I wanted that hope and change. Now, fuck hope. Let's just get some change.
So, see, I want to go to that. Like, ultimately, what you're talking about with Obama and the way he got in is a different social context. We had the wars that was going on, economy in a tank. Still do. But ultimately, like, what ends up happening is we see all these old white men, and everybody's like, we tired of the system. The Occupy movement gets strong and gains steam. People graduating college ain't having no jobs from that education. Traditionally, there was a positive correlation between wealth and education in America, and that got obliterated in the 08 in the Bush tenure. And then you got this black dude saying, hey, yes, we can. And people wanted to, if we wanted to have the type of change or grassroots movement, groundswell / macro explosion of this is truly for the people, we wouldn't have elected Obama, in my opinion. Because ultimately, Obama is what made the people buy in or back into the American business.
Okay.
Versus voting or the Electoral College people voting in McCain at that time, I believe.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it
would have been the same old thing.
and then the people
over and over again.
The people would have been angry enough to actually do something. Obama pacified that groundswell.
Oh, so you're thinking on like a macro sense as far as who's really pulling the strings sort of thing.
Absolutely, because basically, like, way I look at the American business, because this is a business. It's a country, but it's a business, and if you travel throughout various countries, you see how their business or country is run, and it's like it's blah.
That's the exact word that I would use to describe the American business.
But
Blah.
but the irony thing is like I'm black and my family is like I'm first generation American, and I go back to see other family members in the islands and it's like damn. Whereas like we're here, even though it's fucked up and it's racist, and I gotta make sure I do a double take with cops around me and whatnot. There's a chance, like I came in ghetto, and like now I'm middle class. That
All right.
that
So there is something to the business. Like it does
Yeah,
work a little bit.
It does
for
work a
people
little
who-
bit.
Okay.
So like, what I'm ultimately saying for my point is like Obama was supposed to be the anarchist that Trump is, and the people that lend to what Rob was saying that that are outright racist, but some are racist. I think they just want to see like Joker, like see the city just or the country just burn.
Yeah. The some men just want to sit back and watch the world burn. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've been seeing those memes popping up online, but
Yeah.
they've been all over the place. And,
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely definitely a factor in,
Yeah.
in this whole thing.
They just again, there's a lot of racist people, but a lot just don't care,
Yeah.
and they don't think it affects them, or it probably doesn't. And a Trump presidency probably will not affect me as a heterosexual white male.
Okay.
Right.
It probably will not affect me negatively in any conceivable way.
Okay.
Because
But you think it'll affect the greater spectrum of people in the United States?
Yes.
It'll affect the country as a whole, but not you directly.
It-
Indirectly, it will.
right,
Okay.
absolutely through relationships and friendships, whatever.
Yeah.
It will affect people around me.
Yeah,
Like closing Planned Parenthood.
yeah,
That will affect people close to me. But as a white male, no, it probably won't and probably can't.
Right.
Because that's who the president is.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair observation. I want to go back to something, Drew, that you said, Obama sort of pacifying the masses and,
Yeah.
and being that conduit to kind of push an agenda forward.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. Not on all levels, but definitely if you look at people online right now, if you go
Yeah.
through your Facebook feed, everybody's going, oh, they're reposting his farewell address and
Yeah.
commenting about how sad they are to see him go. So many people in my feed were doing that. And I kind of thought, I stopped myself from going online and starting posting things like, hey, this guy came in, took the wars he said he was going to stop,
Yeah.
didn't,
right.
never closed Guantanamo like he
Nope.
promised.
Nope.
Why are you so sad? Okay, ACA, Affordable Health Care Act, right? He got that done.
Yeah.
However, he still bombed the living crap out of civilians in Pakistan and Afghanistan and, sort of lended recruiting mechanisms to ISIS through doing that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like as great a president as Obama was, I personally think that he's a great president. End of the day, he's still a politician.
Yeah.
As good as he can be,
Yeah.
he's still a politician. Which
Yeah.
doesn't
I mean,
lend itself to too much.
It's true. I mean, like basically, Obama ran on a platform of change, which basically means change from what the old guard of politician. But as we now see, is that if you go through that system, that indoctrination process, you're not going to change the system. The system's going to change you.
Right, and even if you wanted to, there's not much you can do. Like, again, I'm gonna stump for Obama here and say, yeah, he wanted to do a lot. He tried to do a lot with a Republican Congress and House. He could not do a lot. that he
You're
wanted
absolutely
to.
right. And now
And that's the political
Yeah.
system.
and now we're looking at the complete opposite, where we've got a Republican president coming in with
A Republican
his
House.
he's
Yeah.
got his people ready to go. And by his people, I mean people with an R behind their name. I don't think that they really want him there. I think that a lot of them do feel threatened, and I do not like Trump. So nobody out there spin this shit and make me look like something I'm not. Okay?
Don't you got a Trump
but-
tattoo?
You saw that? You must have been watching me shower, man. So
Right over your butt. Chief.
it's a target for when he's peeing on me. But
He didn't grab you by the
and we
pussy.
will get into Pissgate, absolutely. But I think one of the things that's attracted me to Trump from the beginning is, even before I kind of thought like, oh, this guy actually has a shot. He was the drunk guy at the party who
Yeah.
showed up completely uninvited and started
Yeah.
peeing in the fish tank.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, you got to go. And he's like, no, I don't. Call the cops. My dad's the cops. You can't kick me out. I'm not going anywhere. So they hate him. They don't like him. And the
Yeah.
fact that they don't like him makes me want to like him.
Yeah.
But I can't like him because I listen to him. You know what I mean? And I take him at his word. So I can't like him.
Yeah.
But I want to. But he's a shithead, and I don't.
down at his core. Like if you strip everything away from him,
I do nightly.
You too? You strip everything away. He's almost like a punk rock candidate. Like he wants change. Like, and this is what he had in common with Bernie Sanders in a way. And when Bernie conceded to Hillary, he was like, "Come here. We're going for change. Come to me. All you Bernie supporters, come to me. We're going for change. We're gonna fuck this system up." And that's what Trump kind of represents. Is changing everything, just in the wrong way.
Absolutely.
Like his whole "Make America Great Again." When was America great? When do you want it to back to the 1950s where there was segregation and
2 water fountains for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, like I mean that's why I think people voted Trump. Once again, it's like it goes back to the norm. I mean, white is the default. I mean.
They see the nuclear family in his eye.
I guess.
Except he doesn't live it. Like that's the thing. It's like people. I think you're right. They see the echo of like that old school politician with the slicked over stupid haircut and
that's a haircut.
The shit and the shitty. I'm in charge. Listen to me. I have this. Yeah. So you gotta do what I say sort of attitude. Yeah. And I think that there is a big portion of the population that kind of wants that, and that a lot of people who didn't live during that time want to see what it was like almost.
They almost idolize it because in media and the movies and everything, it's a golden era. Where everything was simple, there was no problems.
Yeah, everything was white.
Exactly. Everything was white and clean, and you didn't have to worry about the darkies.
Pretty much, or the women.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's like an episode.
You know what? The more you guys talk about this, I'm kind of like I'm getting into it.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's just my perspective. I tend to watch. It's like you're in it, but you're not truly in it.
Right.
You invest in it, but they don't really care about you investing, and it's like, hell, okay, whatever. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I wish I had the clip of him talking the other day about the changes and stuff that he's going to make, and how
the wall.
But he's turncoating right now, if that's a term, right? Like he's a turncoat on his own policy before he even starts making policy.
But that's the thing, like that's what politicians do. But then he's like super.
But he's been so blatant about it.
Yes.
That it almost seems.
It should be expected.
And you know what? Like you were saying about him being kind of a punk rock candidate, I agree with that. I've not heard it in those words before, and I really do like that because he's the one who is like, I don't care. I'm going in. I'm gonna do this. I don't like them. They don't like me. Deal with it. This is what's happening. And the fact that he called out that CNN reporter the other day and called them fake news, whether or not you agree with it, I thought it was hilarious.
It's
fantastic.
exchange,
the exchange between them, because there's two sides to this, and I'm gonna play the clip in a second. Mm-hmm. But there's two sides to it. You look at it and you go, that's awesome. Our future president just looked at a guy from CNN and said, you're fake news. Shut up. I don't want to deal with you right now. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty awesome, because sometimes CNN runs with shitty fake stories, and everyone out there, all these news outlets, BuzzFeed, MSNBC, Fox, they all do it where they hear a story, go, that's cool, put it up.
Yeah. We don't have any information right now, but there's something definitely happened.
We're looking into it.
We're scrolling Twitter right now.
John in San Diego says
my friend Frank is down there. I don't.
At Twat Lips on Twitter says it's ridiculous. And
is that a Twitter handle?
I hope not.
I'm gonna make it.
Sure it is. I'm sure it is.
But like, there is a fake news culture out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so for the president to look at what is respected media, right, and say, you're fake news, don't be rude, be quiet. It's like, to see that was pretty cool. But then on the other side of it, I look at it and I go, that's kind of dangerous, because our president is telling the media to shut up and not do their jobs.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with modern day journalism. I mean, ultimately is for profit, and with a weak journalism, we got a weak democracy. And
you're absolutely right.
And ultimately, like, it just goes into. It reminds me of that scene from Anchorman 2. Y'all see that? When
I think I did, but I didn't commit. I didn't commit the second one to memory. It just wasn't.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's not as good as the first one.
I'll go back and rewatch it.
But ultimately, it's a commentary on modern news culture.
Okay.
With the sports news and this news and that news, and don't you? In the first Anchorman, like they had that scene with the back alley fight brawl with PBS.
Right.
But then with this one in Anchorman 2, it's fighting different news stations. So it's like history got news, historical news. Go figure, right? Got PBS news and what's up? But ultimately, the overall the message or joke is like he get in a fight with all these news stations. And it's like fills up the whole stadium, and then Will Ferrell runs out like, "Oh my God, it's too much news." and that's it. It's like we're getting bombarded with all this stuff online.
24 hours is a long time.
Exactly.
And you've got how many networks? If you include, sort of the smaller, more independent news sites, like Russia Today, which is not small over in Russia, but here in the United States, they don't have a huge grip.
Mm-hmm.
If you include stuff like Russia Today, the Young Turks, Al Jazeera America, all that kind of stuff, you've got to have over 50 news networks.
Yeah, at least.
On your cable listing, at least, right?
Yeah.
And they're all going for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. There's not that much news. If you're telling me that Kanye West is going into rehab or whatever he's doing,
that's not news. I don't care.
Before you go to the president's farewell speech,
Yeah.
fuck you. You're not news.
But that's the click culture. They want those clicks.
But so it was kind of satisfying to hear the president-elect have this exchange with a CNN reporter.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
since you are attacking
No,
our news
not you.
organization,
Not
can
you.
you give us a chance?
Your organization
You
is
are
terrible.
attacking our news organization.
organization
Can you give us a
is
chance
terrible.
to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr.
Quiet.
President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a
Can you
question.
can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
People are applauding you are fake news.
Yeah.
So that guy clearly does not have any friends in that room.
Trump clearly grabbed that news by the pussy.
Yes, sir. He certainly did.
And it's funny that he's yelling at a reporter in a room, but on the other end, it's terrifying because that's the man who will run the United States for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of that is why he got elected. It's people want to see that. People want to see the reality show leader go up and yell at people and berate people and all that. And they don't care about what happens behind closed doors with.
You know what happens behind closed doors with Trump? Piss. He throws on that Ignition record by R. Kelly, and he gets a couple of third world broads to pee on each other for change. This is my favorite. So fake news. Let's transition into some possibly fake news. Allegedly, Mr. Trump likes to be in the room while ladies pee on each other, and I think he's finally a little bit more relatable to some of us.
I know he's relatable to R. Kelly.
Yeah, that's right. This is Kobe's president now.
All right, so I missed this whole thing breaking out. So explain it to me.
All right, so for those of just a little backstory on why Rob missed this amazing story. He was in Costa Rica, and I noticed you didn't get tan at all. You must have stayed indoors.
My people don't tan.
He's a ginger, so he goes from white to red very quickly.
Back to white.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Trump, it came out. CNN broke into Wolf Blitzer's program and said there are developing allegations coming from Russia about some sort of misconduct with President-elect Donald Trump. It's a developing story. We will have more, whatever. Apparently, they've been sitting on this story since October. And and people have been trying to substantiate it and develop this story for weeks. It was in some sort of news briefing that went out.
BuzzFeed, right?
And then BuzzFeed broke it. And I'm not sure. Maybe I should look it up. But I think that BuzzFeed is actually owned by CNN.
Oh,
That
wow.
sounds right.
So Yeah, let's
I
check
say
that out.
with no evidence.
Wow.
Yeah, right. It sounds like a thing. So we're just spreading more fake news. This
Right
is
on.
not where it's inception with fake news.
We're more of a commentary,
Yeah.
less than news. So
That's exactly it. So yeah, I don't see anything immediately that shows me that CNN owns fake BuzzFeed. But
it says CNN distances itself from BuzzFeed.
yeah, so maybe they do, maybe they don't. Either way, CNN kind of broke into Wolf Blitzer's program and alerted the people, hey, there's something that's going to be coming out. We don't have enough to back it up, but keep your eyes open. And then maybe an hour or so later, BuzzFeed, whap!
Yeah.
Trump hired Russian prostitutes in a Russian hotel
Yeah.
to pee on each other while he watched.
Horrible.
That's, it's maybe, but if they were willing to do it for money, whatever, they're adults. That's how I feel about it. Consenting adults should be able to do whatever they want.
Right on.
But my thing is, like, when you read more into the details on this story, allegedly he asked for a room that Obama had stayed in, so Obama was in that bed, so he was in the bed that Obama was in when he was there. So like there's little details to this that are kind of like that's a little much. If you would have left that out, I'd believe you a little bit more.
Yeah.
But whether or not this particular instance comes out that it's true, I just like the thought that Trump likes piss play.
Yeah.
Those golden shower. He just seems, because like if you think, did you guys see the statue of him that somebody made and put out in Central Park?
Yeah. It's like
the naked Trump statue.
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah. So I just
It's gross.
I picture
It's super gross.
I picture the naked Trump statue with the little button dick, and I just imagine that being
There
you
it
know doesn't it look so nice? No, but I picture that in a room with pee, and it just makes me so happy. But that's where we're at with this. Since you missed the story,
Okay.
now you're all caught up.
Great.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
I'm so happy.
Welcome
Right
to
on.
the next 4 years. This is, and I like how when Obama took office, it was the big thing was like, is he paying his landlord enough or whatever, the whole Tony Rezko situation. That was the big scandal that Sean Hannity was like, he's not paying enough on his taxes for his home. And now it's like Trump's hiring prostitutes and they're peeing on each other.
And not showing his taxes.
And the thing is, if that would have come out about anyone else, even George Bush, right?
Yeah.
Like even if that would have come out about George
I would
Bush,
have been done.
But people wouldn't have believed it. They would have been like, no.
He's too dumb to do that.
Like, if they were like, oh, he's doing blow and going 90 miles an hour down the Texas freeway, you'd be like, probably,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
can see
cool.
that. I can
That makes
see that,
sense.
yeah.
And then, again, more relatable.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy, whatever. But people actually believe that Trump did this, that this is a thing. And the fact that people, without any credibility behind the story at all, believe it, I think speaks volumes to his public perception, even from people who have voted for him. Because there are people who voted for the guy and got all excited, and now they're like, "What? Is this real?" And I think the fact that people have that question in their head, like this could be real.
Yeah.
Like we got to find out.
Let's go back to the Electoral College. So.
All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bunch of monkeys that just press buttons. Like, all right, we want our king monkey to be boom.
Our king Cheeto.
So yeah.
It's Planet of the Apes inside those voting booths with him. It's Mark Wahlberg and Woody Harrelson.
Woody's my bad man. Oh,
But
legalize it.
legalize.
The marijuana.
Oh yeah, okay.
Federally.
Yeah, you know what? Let's jump into
All right.
that. I don't really I don't smoke weed, right?
Yeah.
I have no vested interest in this topic,
I'm
but
so sorry that you don't.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. It hasn't killed anyone.
It won't.
Alcohol,
Alcohol's killed way more
you're
people.
killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
I worked in a bar. So now that we've talked for probably over a half an hour, I'll kick this around real quick with some introductions and official back. I know Rob, we worked in a bar together. I know Drew, we worked in a bar together. So we all have that sort of culture, and we were all steeped in that in our formative years.
Absolutely.
I think. Drew is a former wrestler. Rob likes pop punk. and I am a 31-year-old skateboarder who stage dives at hardcore shows. So
Right on.
clearly I have a lot going on. No, there's more to it than that for all three of us. But I think that gives you at least a little bit of insight as to where we come from, and you know, what we were saying about.
I have no idea.
Oh, my brain. I'm leaving that
What
in.
we're saying
My
about-
brain just completely shut down.
What we were saying about pot, or
Yeah. See, I used to smoke it. That's the whole thing. That's why I couldn't get back to where we were going. That's why I got sidetracked and then totally lost my brain.
I mean, like I think the war on drugs, like it coincides with the war on people that are different, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So ultimately, if you weren't
so black people.
well, they're different historically speaking. But I'm saying like from what I know of Mad Men, like you had the conservatives, the straight collared Wall Street, whatever guys that had the 2.5 children and the picket fence and the so-called American dream, and then you had the beatniks, the whoremongers that like to smoke reefer with the Negroes and have fun on that level, and then it goes from there, from what I understand, with the what's the guy name, with the McCarthyism and and what have you, and
They basically, I think the war on drugs really started in the 30s when pot was officially outlawed, like cannabis.
really,
Yeah.
Okay.
So they use it. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and
Nice.
he gets into this stuff.
Dope.
So I've absorbed some of that through osmosis. But back in the 30s, I think it was, they started the propaganda against cannabis because they said that the Negro and the Mexican will rape your women
That
if they
makes sense.
smoke. They're high on this cannabis.
So you sound like Trump.
I'm his speechwriter, and then they get somebody to edit out all the Negroes and replace it with immigrants.
Yes.
And but yeah. So, but yeah. So back then they basically said it was the paper companies. So the
Okay.
people who own the big paper companies realized that hemp could be used to print more a better product for cheaper. So they said, we need to outlaw this shit. How do we do that? Well, it's connected to this drug that people are smoking, or this substance that people are imbibing to get twisted, right? So they said, all right, misinformation.
Yeah.
And they kicked up fake news
news.
from around the world.
Oh, wow.
And so they went back and they said, look, this stuff, you get high on this they didn't even, the term marijuana wasn't even around. It was, you get high on this cannabis, this hemp stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when the black man and the Mexican, they're going to come into your home, they're going to rape your women, they're going to steal your shit, do whatever they do.
Yeah.
That's what this stuff does. So there was this misinformation campaign put out by the paper companies so they could keep control of that resource.
Shit.
And that's where because at the same time, they were still putting fucking cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Coke.
I wish I was there for that.
And they were giving out heroin as cough serum.
I can't mess with
Like,
that.
come on! Like, heroin was used for cough medicine at the same time that they were out. Like, so it's just there's a lot of inconsistencies. Yeah. So, but then it came back around in the 60s because people were like, "This shit doesn't make you rape anyone," you know. And so, but then during the 60s, they used it to connect the white beatniks to communism.
Yeah.
And they were like, Black Panthers smoke weed, white communists smoke weed. We got to oust this whole thing. So it kicked up, and then through, and then the
Reagan in the 80s.
Yes, and then the Reagan war on drugs.
Actual war on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. Any
Yeah.
questions? Type of stuff, And yeah, that's where it's got a long history of just misinformation and bullshit. And like I said, I don't smoke. I used to, and then I smoked myself away from pot because I would get too paranoid.
Oh, wow.
And I would sit there and just be, oh God, because I just couldn't do it.
You had the wrong
And I'm glad,
strain.
man, because it slowed me down. I was like 19, 20, right?
Okay.
And it slowed me down and made me kind of stupid. I was like living in a crappy part of West Philly, and just
What's the leg?
yeah. And it was just like, how did I end up here? I'm not in school. I'm delivering pizzas. Like, and I had this realization that like I'm a 20-year-old who's delivering pizzas, and I'm not in college. All my friends are in college. Oh man, I got to go back to working in a bar because that was better. So, you know what I mean? But so that was my journey away from it. But if other people want to do it, man, that's not, like.
I agree with you. Like, I've never smoked pot, but do your thing. It doesn't.
You never smoke pot?
Nope.
Oh, my God.
Rob is currently rocking I wouldn't call it a man bun
It's a
because
man
bun. I have long hair.
He's got like below shoulder length sky hair, and he's got it mushed up into like a smushed ponytail on the back of
seen
his
it out.
dumb white face.
The wind was blowing. I saw his aura.
Watching him coming through the parking lot, I thought like, oh shit, maybe the Bible was real and Jesus
Right?
is coming back right now.
White Jesus. The Mormons have
Wait,
it.
wait.
He's the ginger Jesus. Come on.
Jesus isn't white.
No, Josh, of course Jesus is white. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
He was
Absolutely,
he was
Jesus
the
white.
one white man in the Middle East.
Okay. Yeah.
Got me sound like
That's
Uncle
what
Ruckus.
I've been banking on that for years.
No, I've
And
never.
clearly Jesus is white because Trump is president. But
Oh,
go
yeah.
on.
He got this. You got this beard, this gnarly beard, and then this hair that just won't stop flowing. I thought I was going to be able to smoke with you later. I thought you might have the premium. I thought you might have the Pineapple Express.
I'm James Franco in Pineapple Express. No, I've never smoked pot, but that like, and I used to be like against it when I was younger because
What?
I used to be straight edge for a long time. I was like, no, drugs are bad. But
Isn't that bad. But anyway, go on.
but like, it's pot. It's not bad. If you want to smoke it, go ahead. It really doesn't hurt anybody. There's no reason to keep it illegal other than to put black men in jail, basically.
Well,
That's really it.
or other people.
Yeah, to put people of color in jail.
I mean, because they don't police it in the suburbs. Like
No, they
do
don't.
Exactly.
in the
And
city.
and that's God, I can't remember his name, but there was a Baltimore police officer who was a combat veteran, came back, served in the Baltimore
Yeah.
police force for a few years, became I think a captain or a sergeant.
And then he talked about
Yeah, and he's been all over the place saying, look, there's no difference in carry rates for white males and black males carrying around weed.
Right.
If we stopped as many white people as we do black people in the city of Baltimore, we would find as much, if not more, marijuana
I
on the
remember
white
seeing that,
people.
yeah. It's true.
But white people, there's a higher instance that they'll fight back and use the court system and the whatever, and that they'll just make a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas if they go into a poor black neighborhood and just start feeling up every kid on the block, and they find some kid with a dime bag, they know that they can hit a quota,
Yeah.
or they can make an arrest, and it looks good for them.
Yeah.
You know,
They could
and then
justify
And they're
being there.
taking drugs off the street.
Yeah.
that's it.
And that's
all in the name of goodwill, right?
That 14-year-old with a dime bag is a drug dealer, is a major drug dealer, and now we got him off the streets. So
Well,
he's not,
God forbid he's 18.
Yeah.
And he was arrested for that dime bag twice before because now he's in jail for life.
Yeah.
You know,
Crazy.
3 strikes, man. If we're transitioning to the prison topic, we can absolutely do that.
we sure can.
All right. Like I think that that the prison system is just completely screwed in this country, and like 3 strikes really bother me. Mandatory minimums are just disgusting.
Well, they're not thinking about people. They're thinking about money.
Money and numbers.
It's money and numbers, straight up, straight up, straight out. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they want people in there so they can force or basically rape the American government or rape the American people in their tax money so they could get that privatized money. And on top of that, they're using it off the blood and the sweat and the community. They're preying on a community that has been preyed upon historically in this country for ages. And it's
for
bullshit.
literally ever.
yeah,
Since the beginning of the country.
yeah,
They were brought here to be preyed upon.
exactly.
I'm gonna default this conversation to Rob because you worked at
I worked at Eastern State Penitentiary.
Okay.
For those of us who don't know, it was America's oldest penitentiary. It is now a historic site. So it closed and then reopened 20 years after it closed as a museum, documenting kind of how early prisons worked and all that. And it's transformed somewhat into a commentary on prisons now.
Yeah.
And the prison system today and how that all works, the war on drugs and all of this. And you can see there's statistics there that show that the incarceration rate jumped, well, I think it's 700% from 1980 to 2010.
It's disgusting. It's
Absolutely.
disgusting. And a lot of it's minor drug offenses,
Exactly.
nonviolent drug crimes.
Yep, and you get kids coming in on field trips that are asked, "Oh, what are people in jail for today?" And they think murder, they think robbery, this serial killers, this
Yeah.
whatever. No, it's minor crimes
Wow.
in the 3-strike system.
Bullshit.
That's
Yeah.
That's actually kind of I've never thought about that. Like, because kids, you're bred to believe that criminals go to jail. What's a criminal? A killer. What's a criminal? A robber. right?
My
You played cops and robbers. You didn't play like cops and guy who enjoys getting high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's real, man.
my partner works there. She's a tour guide there, and she just told me a couple weeks ago she gave a tour.
By partner, you mean girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a tour guide there, and she was giving a tour to these kids, and I think they were a school from West Philly somewhere, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And
So she basically was like, "Hey, you guys are all going to be here."
you need to
darkly
know about
funny.
this. But see, no, because it gets so much worse. She's giving a tour, and she's asking these kids, "Well, what do you guys think people go to jail for?" Or she asked her teacher, "What are they learning?" Like, "Oh, they're learning about serial killers." Why? Why on earth are these children of color living in a city learning about serial killers? And that's what all the kids thought that people went to jail for. Oh, murderers and
How old are these kids?
they were I think they were in like 8th grade.
Oh,
They were like 14.
They already know the system pretty much.
But they didn't. And that was the thing. Like what
I think
They didn't want to let you know that they
Exactly.
knew.
That's what I'm basically saying. Because like, I mean,
They're afraid that if they're like, "Yeah, so my cousin Ronnie got locked up
Pretty
for a
much.
dime bag,"
Pretty much.
they think, "Oh, are you Holden? Come here. We got to talk to you. You know what? You fit a description. Let's go." You know?
yeah.
yeah.
But that's the thing.
I
Like,
mean, I never really knew about serial killers, so I guess that's why they wanted. I mean, I'm from Southwest Philly, but I live in West Philly. But yeah, I mean, my own story and the story I grew up in is just like we have an idea of how cops react to us, how they treat us, and how family members get treated and get like preyed upon. And I'm sure these kids, I mean, there's so much, 80% of learning goes on outside of the classroom. So what is these kids learning nowadays?
right.
So well, that's,
You know, it's funny that you said like how cops interact with your community, right?
Yeah.
And where you were. I grew up before I moved to Philly. I lived in the sticks of Pennsylvania,
Okay.
right? Like out northeastern Pennsylvania.
Trump country.
Yes, sir. And and as I turned 18, I was off. I'm going to Philadelphia. My sister's there. I'm gonna go settle up and get right in a good place. But when I was growing up out there, I was a skateboarder. I was a punk rock kid in a town that like lived on high school football and traditional American values. So I in a lot of ways was an outcast and whatever. And me and my friends who skateboarded, we spent a lot of time in that small town running from police. Like legitimately running down one-way streets the wrong way because they couldn't turn their car down. Like we learned all the little tricks of how to
Nice.
get away from the cops.
Nice.
Looking back, if it was now
Yeah.
and I was black,
Yeah.
I'd be dead, man.
Good chance.
Because one of the first times that I ever had an interaction with a police officer, he tried to take my skateboard from me. We were in a place that we got permission to skate. We went to the postmaster of a post office and said, "Hey, can we skate in the parking lot after you close?" Yeah. We were in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
He came. I broke my board. And I was like, "Just take it."
Yeah.
That kind of like resistance to a cop.
Yeah.
I think from anyone else in any other place and time
Yeah.
would have ended way worse.
Absolutely.
And I look back on that and I'm like, man. And that's one of those things, and I'm actually kind of realizing it now because the whole talk of like white privilege and stuff, I've let that wash over me and I haven't paid attention to it. That's one of those things that I hear white privilege and I get repulsed by it.
I'm sure.
And it's because I'm like,
That's almost a good thing, though.
yeah, maybe.
You should be.
I am, but not from that angle.
Right.
And this is like, and I
know, right.
I spoke about this
Yeah.
on another podcast before, but this is one of those things that like I'm sure that I'll get some shit for it from people in my life, but like I never was aware of it until maybe like a year ago, right?
Okay.
And when I started hearing the phrase, I had to think about it because I was like, what white privilege, man? Like what is it?
How have
because
I
felt-
benefited? I don't know what you're talking
And
about.
it's like I still kind of struggle with that because I'm like I don't feel like I have. Like I've been cuffed up and taken to a precinct before, again for skateboarding and mouthing off a little bit. But like
You sound like this guy that I was trying to explain it to. And like I put it in simple sports sense.
okay,
Imagine that you're the Duke University of college America, whatever. Ultimately, once you get that one or two players that are super dominant, that goes to the NBA and help you win a couple championships, it's easier for you to recruit. And you keep recruiting 5-star, 4-star players. Ultimately, throughout time, you just start winning more and more and more and more, and then it's harder for other teams to get on the thing and win. At the end of the day, it's momentum. If you believe in momentum, that's white privilege.
Okay.
From the slavery and shitting on black people, Asian people, Indian people in America, fuck it. Let's bring in British colonialism.
Okay.
The white team.
I like that you have a smile on your face while you're talking about this, by the way.
Because I explained this to my white friend, the other white friend that's like, he's a Trump voter. And I explained it to him like this. He's like, I see what you're saying. It makes sense. But ultimately, it's momentum. And that's what white privilege is.
Okay.
That's
the first time that I've ever had it broken down for me in a way that wasn't some sort of like in my face, fuck you, you're white, you're privileged, get out of here sort of thing.
You don't want to hear that?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
That's the best way. You got to put the molasses with the poison to kill the bad germs. Boom.
Boom.
Goes the dynamite.
So that actually, I'm really appreciative that you just explained it that way, because I've not heard it broken down like that before, and that actually helps me kind of understand it on a level that I wouldn't have, because I sort of rejected the notion.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is like, you're a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Right. You go out, you talk to people, you get on stage. I love stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite comics, Patrice O'Neal,
Dope, dude.
said if white people would just shut up about all things racial, black people would catch up to us. You know, like, and that to me, I was like, holy shit, that makes a lot of sense. If we just keep our mouths closed, because I didn't do it, he didn't do it, but ultimately people with this skin color did it, right? Yeah. And there is, I do believe in institutionalized racism, and I do believe,
that's
good. That certainly exists.
Well, I mean, all you gotta look is the court system.
Exactly. Exactly. And I do think that exists. So maybe I did believe in the existence of white privilege before I understood it, but I just didn't. Maybe I just rejected it because of the attitude that a lot of people have, where they go, "You're white, you're privileged, shut your mouth." And then I get people who go, "You're cisgendered,
that's the
white male, whatever," and I'm like, there's too many things that I am that I didn't know that I was.
Well, that's
you know what I mean?
Thinking now. That's the contemporary, like, of all these, and that's the thing that's great about America now, is the fact that people that are marginalized have a voice and they have opinions, and they get it's not deadly to say it as much as it was in the past. That's one of the things that's really great about America right now.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that people are afraid of with the Trump thing.
Losing that.
It's losing that, absolutely.
And I mean, that takes us back to that exchange with the reporter from CNN. You know, as much as I love to see him just kind of go, no. I also see it as
what was the first thing that went in Nazi Germany?
The media.
The media.
Absolutely.
Journalism, yeah.
And that's, and I still kind of, personally, I shy away from the Hitler comparisons and the Nazi Germany stuff, because to me, that's like, it belittles what actually happened in Germany. If you're like, Trump is Hitler, it's like, no Hitler kind of orchestrated slaughtering, you know, 6 million Jews and 4 million other minorities in Europe. Yeah. You know, I think those are the correct numbers. I think it was like 10 million plus people, you know, and
genocide.
Yeah. Trump's just a dickhead who has some shitty values.
I gotta say that genocide probably would be bad for business. So.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. But I do get a little bit nervous with some sort of media blackout. You know, they're coming out with Trump news. That's in the works.
Oh yeah,
it's been in the works. I don't know how far along they are, but they were talking about it, and it was a whole thing. And it's so it's. Can we trust that? You know what I mean? No, it's got his name on it. But there is a big segment of the country that would believe it.
But this is the thing I'm noticing is like we all fall victim to our own lazy thinking. We don't necessarily want to. We're so used to having things spoon fed to us, whether we just get online and we click and we click and we click, that we just lose interest in the vesting interest of really getting information. So we're more prone to it because we're fortunate to have this job and we want to go to work and we got this kid or we got this child and we got so many things we're going towards that we're not able to really focus on things that we need to focus on.
Right.
And that's part of the Trump lore. It's like, I just want to get this. I want to see what fucked up thing he says. I want to laugh and then I'm just go back to work. And it's just like, come on, we got to do better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like that. We as a people have to do better.
Absolutely.
We just do better.
Yeah. How do you do better? Just do better.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
Right on.
Do you think that the Trump is sort of do you think all right, so Obama going back quite a bit here.
Okay.
Obama being the pacification or the pacifier for the masses in America,
Yeah.
or at least one portion of the masses. Do you think that Obama versus, because from what I gather, maybe do you believe in like Illuminati type New World Order stuff? Or you?
I'll be real with you. Like, being a person of color, like before I got educated,
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh, there's like one person pushing the buttons and controlling everything,
Right.
and he's white, and that was it. But then as I got older, more educated, and been around varying groups, I think it's not out of the question for a group of people to sit down in a room and make up laws, policies, and whatnot that'll govern or marginalize a body of people. I mean, that's called Congress right now.
So do you think that group of people is sort of segmenting people out, and they did that with Obama, and they found the Occupy movement and the majority of Black Americans, and they were able to kind of put those people into one place with Obama and say, that's that you guys, we put the lid on them now. Now they got to go over and get the people in the middle of the country. They got to get the flyover states, so they're doing it with Trump. Do you think that this whole thing was orchestrated, or do you? Because I don't really believe in the Illuminati.
Okay.
I don't believe. I don't believe it's a false flag operation. I'm not an Alex Jones guy.
Let's just look at it like let's just use the micro to look at the macro.
Okay.
In, let's say, a school system, a school whatever, you have the principal, top, then you got vice principal, and then you got a bunch of teachers and counselors.
Okay.
I am quite sure those people are put in charge to handle that body of school. At the end of the day, or bi-monthly, they might have a problem student or a student that's just so exceptional that, hey, let's talk about this student or these trouble students every month or two to make sure that this student doesn't mess with or change the body of the other students.
Oh, so you think that if there is some weird little ruling council,
Yes,
that they are trying to quell both ends.
absolutely.
So they're saying this person's a little too. These people are too enlightened,
Yeah.
and these people are too
Out of it?
guttural.
I mean, to put it simply, like, are you familiar with Dead Prez?
No.
Rap group? They got the saying like, you can't fool all the people all the time, but if you fool the right ones, the rest will fall behind.
Okay.
So
Okay.
That's
I like that.
yeah.
and ultimately that's what been the American thing, the culture of America, like in the popular sense for a long time. I mean, now they think Kim Kardashian is news. They think being a celebrity is being like you could be rich for being just famous. What? There's no talent. There's no art. There's no substance behind it. It's all style, and that's what America's. That's why Trump is basically our president-elect. This is like, what kind of nonsense is this?
Yeah.
So I mean, in the past you worried about a presidential scandal ruining a presidential campaign. Like if Bill Clinton was just come out and be like, yeah, I popped her, she sucked my dick, and next thing you know, like he might become president off the strength of that.
Right.
But 20 years ago, that ended him.
Yeah. That's you know what?
Yeah,
That's,
Trump's campaign is built on
Stupidness.
on scandal.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
But-
and it's a week away from all taking hold. My wife, my aunt, and one of my wife's friends are going down to DC for the Women's March the day after with
Oh,
the
wow.
with
Very
the pink
cool.
with the pink pussy hats.
Nice.
They're gonna go down there and do whatever they're gonna do. I don't know, the Million Women March. So get maybe next time that we get in this room, we'll have a little report from DC.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Anything else you guys want to cover today? Don't hold back.
No, I'm not holding back. I'm just looking at my my little sheet. Did y'all watch the Obama speech?
I did. I absolutely did.
I watched parts of it.
I'm horrible. I did not.
Did not.
I did not.
So that's a strike against your black card.
I get tired of that card nonsense. No, I'm serious, man. Like,
Is it a heavy card to carry?
I mean, it's my skin, but at the end of the day, man, like, I noticed that people like to oversimplify and whatnot, but this ain't no damn game. I mean, I'm walking down the street, I'm driving a car. I could get killed, and they could look up my life and be like, well, he had multiple sex with multiple women, and he's a weed smoker. I don't know if he was high, but they just use whatever they can to discredit.
He was a wrestler. I felt very, very threatened. He's a very
Yeah, exactly. I almost got killed in Scottsdale, Arizona. Like, are y'all familiar with that police department?
I have been out there,
It is.
but I was 15 and white.
Well, you're very lucky. If only I could be 16 and white out there. But there's this cop that made USA Today news for killing 7 people, and right after I went out there to see my brother, he's federalized, whatever. This cop, Jay Peters, super crazy dude, followed me and my cousin and his white girlfriend. His white girlfriend was the one that drove me out there. I wasn't out there for a full day. And yeah, that's the dude. Crazy dude.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cop who shot. Here's the headline: Cop who shot and killed
Oh,
6
yeah.
people.
Yes.
Now
Okay.
teaches other officers when to use their guns.
Exactly.
Look at that guy.
Look at him.
He looks like a problem.
He looks like
He looks like an Aryan
Yeah, I
Brotherhood.
was gonna say,
like-
he looks like a white supremacist.
Yeah.
And he had the colors.
He's got.
Yeah. So what's
he
the
was-
difference?
He was protected by the blue wall.
Yeah, he certainly was. Dude, you can see he's got it in his face.
Yeah.
Like he's got those killer eyes.
Yeah, and he wanted to shoot me. He was like, he looked me up. He was
That
looking,
was like
he was
that's
looking-
like legit.
I mean, I'm not bullshit. I mean, the dude, I'm in the back of his patrol car. He turned the volume up so I wouldn't hear what he was saying to another white officer. And he was like, yo, I really wanted whatever to this person. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. I came all the way out to Arizona, all this year Ivy League education, all these sacrifices to die in the back of this motherfucker's police car.
Dude.
But then the dude was like, yo, he doesn't have a police record. So to this day, I still got failure to obey a police officer, that police officer on my record.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He asked me to get out the car. We got out of the car. I asked him why. And he said, you're giving me attitude. What?
Wow.
You got my ID.
Wow.
Like, why do you want to see my ID? And then he's like, you're giving me attitude. I'm like, fuck, I'm trying not to die.
Yeah. Because at that point,
Yeah.
that's how I ended up in the back of a squad car. I was asking questions.
Yeah.
You know.
But the thing
I'm
is-
doing what I've been doing for 45 minutes, and you've been watching me do it.
Yeah.
And now, get off your skateboard.
Yeah.
Which I did, and then grab the pockets. What are you guys doing? Don't resist. You're resisting. How am I resisting? Get in the car.
Yeah. Exactly.
Here we go.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's the guy.
But to my knowledge, the cops who put me in cuffs did not have a track record of what looks like blatant murder.
Yeah, pretty much. Dirty Harry. He's Dirty Harry.
That's ridiculous.
In a ritzy Arizona suburb. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah, I would say. But back to
Obama.
back to Obama.
Yes.
Who looks like he's got the O face in that freeze frame. I pulled up a little montage here of some of the stuff he'll say. We'll listen to it since you didn't listen to it, Rob. You said you didn't either.
Not much.
I'm
of
the
it,
only good citizen in this room.
Yes.
Yes,
And
you are.
you know what? I didn't like Obama 8 years ago.
Right on.
I still am not a huge fan of him. His drone program.
I'm not a fan of him either.
I heard a story from a kid who grew up in Pakistan, I believe it was, who said that we fear, as children growing up in Pakistan, we fear blue skies.
Wow.
When it's a nice day, that
deep.
means the drones are out.
That's deep.
And we fear the sun. We fear blue skies. But when it's like an ugly day, we feel better about playing outside.
Wow.
And that to me spoke volumes about this guy who won a Nobel Peace Prize before he even got into office.
That's crazy.
They were like, "Oh, look, America elected a black guy. Let's give him a Peace Prize."
I love the
And
symbolism.
I
love the symbolism, but like you said, like I mean,
he had done nothing to get that Peace Prize.
I'll be real with you. If he would have freed Mumia, I'd have been like, all right, his presidency is a success.
He's locked in.
He's locked in.
You're so Philadelphia, by the way.
I mean, I am what I am. And like, that was my whole thing. Like, I was like, we got a black president. He's going to free Mumia. And then all my white friends were like, stop saying that word.
That's one of those things that like I grew up a big Rage Against the Machine fan.
Right on.
So I always was hoping for clemency for Leonard Peltier, who that's a whole story. We won't get into it right now. Mumia, they did a free Mumia concert. I think it was 2000 or 2001 in Philly. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was after that. I'm not sure. But Rage came to Philly and did a thing for Mumia, and I latched onto that. And I thought, and then, through time spent in Philadelphia, you realize that like he's a hero or at least a figure of injustice to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then there's the powers that be really do not like that story.
No, they do
and
not.
They don't like people talking about it.
Right.
And that's one of those things that I think a Trump presidency, those sort of things, we won't even hear about that shit.
Yeah.
You might hear about it in the city where it happens, but it's not going to be national news.
Right.
Like he was. It won't be, because he's the guy yelling at CNN reporters. Yeah. But anyway, Obama said goodbye to America, and here's a few of the clips, the best moments from his farewell address.
Our Constitution is a remarkable, beautiful gift. But it's really just a piece of parchment.
That's heavy.
It has no power on its own. We, the people, give it power. We, the people, give it meaning with our participation and with the choices that we make. So
I want to just touch on that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
When he said that the Constitution is just a piece of parchment.
It's true.
It is true. I lend a little bit more credence in that, I think, to the Constitution. I think that our founders were, they had their shortcomings like everybody does.
Like slaves.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. That's absolutely a big one. But I physically rolled back in my chair, by the way. I want to acknowledge that when you said, I was like, oh, you hit me with the atom bomb.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot in there that we need to hold on to. And I think the ordering of the articles of the Constitution, I think that's genius.
Yeah.
The first one is there. That's the most important. The second one protects the first one, so on and so forth down the list, whatever. Then you get into all the bullshit. But when he's been waiting for 8 years to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the face of everyone. I don't know what other clips they've got here, but he said some stuff that I was, as someone who's not a huge Obama guy, I was on my couch doing the Arsenio because
hello 80s.
He said some stuff that he just went off and was like, and he said it very diplomatically. He said it well, but he said some stuff that he's been sitting on. It's just been, eating up space in his brain, and he just put it out there. So hopefully they play a few of the things that he said that really got me going the other night. But we'll move on.
See, that's what our democracy demands. It needs you. Not just when there's an election, not just when your own narrow interest is at stake, but over the full span of a lifetime. If you're tired of arguing with strangers on the internet, try talking with one of them in real life.
And I like that a lot. And that's what we're doing here on the Civil Society podcast, is trying to get people with differing backgrounds and differing opinions to get into a room and have those conversations, and I think it was really important for him to say that.
And we just had that right here in the studio. When you told him about white privilege.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That could have been you arguing on the internet about.
Oh, it would have been.
I'm sure it probably has been. Because it probably has been. But that would have been. It's you arguing on the internet and refusing that you have white privilege, and you Drew spouting the other way. But since we're in this room together, we discussed it.
And that's what I think a lot of the discourse lacks. And that's what I hope that this podcast can kind of bring to some people who are looking for that.
To be real with y'all, when I tell people certain things, it helps that I'm like 6 foot, 245,
But-
martial art trained.
But see,
But I saw you. I just thought you were a big teddy bear. So.
and you know, it's awesome to be able to sit across the table from you and have this conversation because you used to protect my skinny little ass. Fights would break out at the bar we worked at. He was the one on top of the whole thing, just grabbing people. Like literally, I've seen this dude grab people by the nape of their neck, like a mother cat with a kitten, and just hurl them out the front door into the like literally
Uncle
into
Phil,
the
Uncle
street.
Phil throwing Jazzy Jeff.
Seat of the pants, back of the neck, out you go. And it's so I am aware. I've seen him in action in those scenarios, and yeah, maybe that will play a little bit of a role in my response to some of the things that we talk about here. But no, I mean, I think that was good. Like, and I'm glad that I heard that. And I'm glad that it expanded my mind on that topic because my rejection. I've never liked when people say things to me and say, "This is you. This is how you're supposed to feel."
At you.
Yeah,
And nobody likes that.
Yeah, and it's that thing that like, I get that white people kind of suck, man. Like we do.
No, y'all don't. Only the
historically-
women.
His
On my penis. And your penis. And everyone's penises. Or vagina if that's what they want to do.
or urine if you're the president-elect. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to cover? If you guys want to wrap up, we're kind of.
I think so.
Yeah,
Where are we at time-wise?
We're about an hour and 10, I believe. Hour and 15.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Not bad for
I'd say so.
first
For an inaugural podcast.
for the Civil Society podcast. That's right.
Civil society.
So, all right. Well, on that note, I guess we're gonna shut off these mics and get back to our lives.
Our program for the future. Economy right now, it's extremely supportive.
And we'll end with the song that Drew referenced before, and that's Propaganda by Dead Prez. So that's it for the first episode of the Civil Society podcast. Everybody take care. For Rob and Drew, I'm Josh.
Bye.
See you later. Deuces.
You can't fool all the people all of the time, but if you fool the right ones, then the rest will fall behind. Tell me who's got control of your mind, your worldview.